Hello, welcome to Wednesday Night Live. Thanks for sharing this time with us. We have a special order of service tonight, and to get things started, we bring you two beloved Mile High guest artists, Jamie Lula and Karen Drucker.
Peace and blessings to my Mile High community. Tom, Jennifer. I don't know who's playing drums today. There's Rob Lowe there. Who's there? Reverend Michelle, Reverend Josh. Blessing you all. Thank you so much for taking me in as part of your family. I'm so grateful. I just thought that I'd play a song or two for you. And this time of rebirth and affirming something greater than ourselves, and affirming the power of our community, that we're stronger when we're together, when we're working together. So peace and blessings to you. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. I wish you peace. I wish you joy. I wish you love, 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 love. I wish you faith in yourself to reveal all that you've come here to be. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. I wish you strength. I wish you courage. Wish you love, 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 love. I wish you purpose to create all your dreams and co-conspire with the light of your life. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Oh, 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 oh. Your answers to eternity are always deep inside you. The freedom of expression is yours to choose right now. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Oh, love is my voice. Love is my religion. Oh, love is my choice. Love is my decision. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. And everybody's saying, love is my religion. Love is, yes it is. Love is my religion. Love is, oh, religion. Love is. Love is. Love is. Love. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
So how do you start your day? I want to start it with love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Yeah, I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. And the next part you go, you just sing, say love, love, love. I blew it. It doesn't matter. Say love, 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 love. You gotta do that one more time. Oh, I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Are you singing at home? I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. And you sing love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. I feel such love, love, love. Love, love, love. You want some peace? I start my day with peace. When I start mine, I feel that sweet release. I feel that sweet release of peace. Sing that again. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. Then you go peace, 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 peace. Oh yeah, peace, 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 peace. Want some joy? Let's do some joy. Oh, I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. You have to go like infused. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. It was very good. I could feel you at home and say, enjoy, joy, 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 joy. I feel such joy, joy, joy. Yeah, joy, joy, joy. Feel joyful? Yeah? Go back to love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Ain't that the truth? I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. So start your day with love. Give it to yourself and everyone else.
Wow, how wonderful. What a great gift to have Jamie Lula and Karen Drucker start off our Wednesday night service, not to mention Dr. Kent Rounstrauss. We are blessed, and I'm feeling extremely fortunate this evening at our Wednesday night live service because I get to be here with two of the favorite men on the planet for me. Yes, Dr. Roger and Reverend Josh, and we have a great service planned for you, and I feel extremely fortunate that you're here with us. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're tuning in live with us Wednesday night when when this service is happening or later on down the road. We're so grateful that you're here, and we hope to feel that connection and hope you feel that connection with us as we step into this service. So before we step into our conversation that we're going to have this evening, we're going to have one more song, one of my favorites from Jamie Lula, Spirits in the House. It's very energetic, so sing along and feel that truth wherever you are. Spirits in the house, right where you are. Let's listen to Jamie.
I've done my time, I'm so tired, I give up on my simple mind. It's not working, I'm no good, I'm in need. If I only could find the spirit in the house. I said spirits in the house, yeah, yeah. Lots of stuff I go through, pull me over, said the man in blue. Son, you know what you done did. I said, yes, I ran a lot of red. What's your hurry, why the race? Who you trying to keep pace? Take your time now, it's alright. Got your answer, you can't hide from the spirit in the house. I said spirits in the house. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I'm on fire, how about you? Can't you feel the spirit God in you? House ain't home, home is where love's alive when you wanna dwell. Well, I'm on fire, how about you? Can't you feel the spirit God in you? House ain't home, home is where love's alive when you wanna dwell. Well, I'm on fire, how about you? Can't you feel the spirit God in you? House ain't home, home is where love's alive when you wanna dwell. In the spirit in the house. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Spirits in the house. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said spirits in the house. Holy, holy, holy spirit. Spirits in the house. Come on. Let it in the house, y'all. Spirit in the house. Woo!
Glad he's having fun, huh?
He is.
Love it. Love
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie Lula. And nothing like watching three ministers dance in a large empty room where we are tonight. And we're,
I'm glad it was empty.
Yeah.
yes,
In that
Probably
case,
better than it was.
we're so grateful to be with you tonight and have you with us for a very special Wednesday Night Live. Michelle and I have been wanting to do something like this for a long time with Dr. Roger. Just sit him down and ask him hundreds of questions. And the truth is, on the stage right now, there's a lot of experience in ministry. Dr. Rogers coming up slowly but surely on 45 years in the ministry. Dr. Michelle, the September after next year is celebrating 30 years of ministry.
Yes.
I'll be hitting teenage 15 years here next year. And so there's a lot of wisdom here, and just wanted to build the discussion tonight around challenges and overcoming challenges in our personal lives and in our ministries, and as Mile High Church celebrating 60 years this year, which is pretty incredible as well. And we're all facing a challenge right now with coronavirus and moving through. So we just thought it'd be a good topic tonight. And Roger, you kind of started it off on Sunday. You told this powerful story about early on in your ministry, struggling if you were in the right place, and you led us in a wonderful process based upon that passage in Isaiah. And whether you want to talk more about that or others, would just love to start with that question of just some of the key challenges that you faced in ministry and how you overcame them.
Thanks, Josh. Well, I've shared a lot of stories about my path, and I thought I'd try to see what the main ingredient was. And, it occurs to me that in my personal journey on this planet, just about every challenge I've faced has been a test of or an opportunity for the enhanced discovery and expression of my heart. And it's all along the way. Sometimes I knew that. Sometimes I didn't know that. Sometimes I stumbled onto that. But it seems like mine has been a journey and a path of discovering and then opening and then leaning into new revelations and new challenges and new opportunities to discover heart. And I was thinking about one particular instance was in 1972. And the Vote Center was being built at the time. And I was over at DU, and I was about halfway through my bachelor's degree, and I had completed, kind of early on, I completed a major in psychology, because I thought maybe I wanted to be a psychologist. And my advisor was talking to me about, now, keep taking certain classes, because obviously with a psych major, you're going to want to get a master's and probably a PhD. And so he was laying out his path for me. But I'd go back to my little room, and I felt this sinking feeling, like there's no way I want to do that. Not just because it's a lot of work, but something in me said no, and that's not it. What you've done is useful, but that's not your path. And that's when I scheduled an appointment with my beloved mentor, Fred Vogt. Fred said, you can't hide from this, Roger. You love spirit. You love God. You love this teaching. And he'd had me up on the pulpit doing readings and prayers and things like that while I was in college and such, kind of baiting me along. And he said, just ask yourself if you're going to be really happy in your heart of hearts if you follow that path and not the one that seems to be within you. And as he was saying that, I knew, I told him I'll ponder that, I'll pray about that. I knew already that he had brought me into connection with that. So at that point, I took on a second major in religion. And I knew that I had found the mother lode of my path in my heart because I couldn't get enough of it. All the various different courses, I just gobbled them up. And I would have kept going, except my parents said, enough of this, get out of college, And so that was, to me, an early lesson around doing what you really love. And I want to ask you tonight, are you doing what you really love? And I bet you're having time to reflect on that. We've got oodles of new time on our hands. And it's a very important question. Are you doing what you love?
And it involves a lot of, trust too. Joseph Campbell teaches this idea of where you see a path laid out for you, it's not your path.
Yeah.
You have to step with trust. And I'm guessing that, what followed that was a trust walk, a faith walk for you.
Absolutely. You got to cut your own path from the direction of your heart. And then I was remembering in 1976, I had completed the 2 years after my undergraduate degree in our seminary there, in which the only one at that time was in Los Angeles, next to Founders Church and the Institute of Religious Science. We didn't have all of the campuses we have. We now have a campus right here that Dr. Michelle leads, the School of Spiritual Leadership, for those who feel called to the path of ministry. But at that time, we only had one. And I'd finished the 2-year program, and I remember the director of placements wanted me to go and be the minister of the Santa Barbara church. And so on a Monday, I drove up to Santa Barbara. It's about an hour and a half away. And I arrived at this beautiful building. I thought, oh my God, this is gorgeous. And it was Monday, it was all locked up, but I pressed my nose against the window and I looked in various windows. And it became very apparent to me that this was a well-organized church, and I panicked. I thought, I'm not up to this. I barely know what I'm doing, and they want to send me here. And then I went home and I thought about it, and it wasn't just fear that had me go a different direction, although I'll be honest with you, there was a bunch of that. But it was the realization that in some way in doing that, I'd be skipping a bunch of steps. And that there was important stuff for me to learn prior to being in that kind of a situation. So I took this little group of 25 people up in Oregon with no assets. And I turned down this wonderful church with a great heritage, a beautiful facility. And the director of placements was irate with me. But now that I look back on it, my heart said, do this the right way. If you're cut out for this thing, don't skip steps. Even if somebody wants to put you in that. And I constantly think about the lessons I learned in that little church as we grew it and eventually bought a church up there, and the love affair we had going. And I just don't know how that would have been if I'd have been in an already set up kind of a deal. And so many lessons that I have later reflected upon all through this wonderful journey. And I now get that too was following my heart. And sometimes it might seem like a big boon to be put in some wonderful position, but I knew my consciousness had to grow. And if you put yourself in a position that's beyond your consciousness, it's not going to work, because your experience always levels out at your consciousness level. So I needed to do a lot of work, not only my skill sets as a minister, but I had to do a lot of work on my consciousness. And that's what I got to cut my teeth on up there. And I'm forever grateful to those wonderful people, the very few of whom still are around and still stay in touch. That was another lesson of heart. For me, that's been my path. And of course, in my book I write about, and I've shared maybe too many times, about the ultimate heartbreak, which was the ultimate, in my path, breaking open of my heart. And that was in 1981. I'd come back here to Mile High as an associate minister in 1979 after being in Portland 3 years, and had been in a relationship for 3 years, and we were going to announce our engagement, and then she just ended it, and very abruptly, and wouldn't see me for quite a long time, a couple of years. And it was a deep grieving, deep anger. It was a very challenging time for me at many levels, while I was also trying to be a minister and help people with their lives. And here I was struggling at the deepest of levels. And I got some great comments from people along the way urging me to take a deeper look, that it was more than what she did to me, that there was a deeper answer. And that began to happen when I saw that the relationship wasn't the high quality one that I was touting it to be, that it was good. We were both angels teaching each other essential lessons, but it wasn't for the long haul. And it wasn't what I was seeing it and talking about it as. But more than anything, I eventually arrived at some ultimate realization that path, that whole excruciating experience, was telling me that I didn't have a fully opened heart. And it wouldn't invite people in. And it wasn't, and I needed to do that work if I was going to have the great relationship I now have with my wonderful Erica. And so, to me, that is, again, another challenge, but it just keeps coming back to this theme, of follow your heart, listen to your heart, consult your heart in these challenging times. How in touch with you are you with your heart? I mentioned a little bit of that on Sunday, that I think we have to have an inner Zoom meeting with our heart. Is fear closing my heart, or is my heart still open? And what guidance, what healing energy, what sense of possibility lies waiting for embrace in my heart? So those are just some other among the I've had many lessons in my life, many challenges.
Well, I love that they follow the same narrative, and I've been sharing a lot. And Michelle and I got to do a talk together where I shared a favorite sentence from Ernest Holmes, where he says, "Dare to lose your small affection," and that's been a huge story in my personal life and my ministry. Is always whenever I get to the point where I think I can't love anymore, Spirit comes in and says, You need more room in your heart, Josh, to open and grow and find that narrative. And want to get back a little bit to your story, Roger. But Michelle, what's coming up for you when it comes for that question of some challenges that you found perhaps early on or recently in ministry that you've overcome?
Well, I find that what I hear Dr. Roger talking about, like the through line of growing and deepening, can often be the same through line in one's ministry and personal life, and I think mine's somewhat similar to yours, Roger, in that I find that the lessons that I've learned the most have been about connecting with people, and that I can't do this thing alone. And it's a kind of a double meaning in that I can't do it alone without the people that I'm connected to, without my family and life, and that I can't do it alone without this divine presence within me.
Yeah.
That the ego sometimes falls into the trap, whether we're living any kind of life in any profession, in any relationship, in ministry, in anything, thinking, I can do this. And the minute I get caught up in that, I can get lost. And so, like you, I've felt that in those moments of crises, that it wasn't about consulting various people in a frenetic state. It was about consulting something deep within me, about allowing people in my life to walk with me through that crisis. I remember one particular moment in my ministry, which was the day that 9/11 happened. And I was in Arizona, and we were starting a Beyond Limits class that night. That we were starting one of those classes, and we were getting phone calls at the church from people saying, are we going to have the class? Are we still going to have the class? Are we going to cancel the class? And I remember feeling this feeling of, I'm so stunned by what's occurred. I don't know how to lead. I don't know how to minister right now. I'm in shock. And I'd spent the day with some ministerial colleagues, and when I was talking at the office, I kept saying, we're going to have the class. We're going to have the class. And we came together, and I remember we talked principle, and we talked spirit, we talked science of mind. But the underlying thing that was true is that we were together, and we stood with each other. We stood together as a community. And in my ministry, every time some crisis happened, whether it was in our church or in the world, what I noticed is that we felt better when we came together because we could be in the energy of each other and connect our hearts and just even hug and smile with each other and feel that connection. And so I'm deeply aware that right now we're going through another kind of time of crisis where we're even more powerfully challenged to feel that deeper guidance because we can't necessarily be together. I mean, I'm blessed that I get to be with you guys, and I'm on a zillion Zoom calls a week like a lot of us are, and I can see people on the TV, and I have a wonderful husband at home, and I have animals, and at the same time I know that a missing for me is missing my friends and missing social time and missing hugging and connecting with people. But the through line continues to be a deeper opportunity then for me to feel that presence within me, that inner guidance.
Yeah.
That's calling to me.
So beautifully put. The heart is a pesky thing because it very often beckons us to what seems extremely uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I had to work so hard to pry you two away from your very successful ministries, you in Scottsdale, you in Seal Beach. And I just had to pray to your hearts that you could let them go, because I've had to let congregations go.
Yes.
Because my heart was saying, there's another arena of service here. And my intellect wanted to doubt that and say, why can't I love these people? Well, I can. And yet life calls me to something more. And I'm so glad you guys finally, although it took a lot, oh my God, but finally you did that. And I love you for it. And I know our congregation loves you. And Yeah, the heart sometimes sets up some interesting challenges. I remember also, I was reflecting today, in 2008,
Yes.
my mom passed. And she had been a wonderful practitioner here at Mile High, practitioner emeritus. She had been on the board of this church when the Boat Center was opened. Extraordinarily loyal, loved this place. And she passed on a Friday, and actually, according to her instructions, we let her go because the doctor said she's not going to recover, and the life support, it's your choice, but she had directives. And so on a Friday morning, we allowed that to happen and did some ritual, put her practitioner stole around her and did some ritual and stuff. And then Erica and I came home. I remember sitting on our deck feeling numb and wondering, okay, it's Friday and I'm speaking Sunday, and I wonder if I can get Marge or Patty or Raz or Lloyd or somebody to speak in my stead. And then something in me said, oh, no. You get yourself in there, although it said it a little more frankly than that, but it said, you get yourself in there and you speak.
It sounds like Delma's voice.
That's your, could have been. That's your extended family. And so I tore up the message I was going to do. Well, I didn't. I put it away. You never tear up a good message.
No.
But I wrote a new one called Lessons in Eternity. And I just came out and I just pulled up a chair right out here. And we had just opened the sanctuary just for months, and just shared about my mom and about my own grief and about perspectives on the ongoingness of life. And at one level, it felt like a very difficult thing to do, but in another thing, it was so healing too. It was a part of my healing. And so again, the heart, if we're willing to follow it and not cover it up, it takes us where we need to be for what we need and for what we can give. I still have people talk to me about that message and
Sure.
how it.
I've heard a lot about it too,
Yeah.
and hearing the narrative kind of developing here, this idea of being able to step into your own path, even though you don't know where you're going, following your heart to lead you there, and perhaps the most difficult part of ministry, of letting go, and something you both have in common is that Mile High has been this anchor point for you.
Right.
And Roger, you left in ministry to go to Portland. You came back. You left for a time and went to Huntington Beach, and came back. And last year, although you're still part of us, had to go through the letting go experience of being our senior minister. And this was one of your first jobs. You even shared in the green room about getting laid off after working here a few weeks. And then coming
She
back.
was a problem employee, you see. No.
And from receptionist to senior minister. So I'd love to hear a little bit more from both of you on just your relationship with Mile High and what it was like to both come back, leave, or whatever that was, and that relationship with the incredible people that make this church what it is.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to leave this place, isn't it? Right?
Well, I've done it twice, and both were excruciating.
Yes.
But then again, the heart knew that a chapter here last year, a chapter had come to a close. And I knew that a year and a half or so prior, and then I just put this elaborate plan that I forced everybody to go through, put this plan together to do it. And it was very difficult. I grieved for a long, long time after that, and stayed away just so that I could adjust and so that the church could adjust to the new thing. And but now I enjoy helping out whenever I can here. And as I've said, I'm on your team during these interesting times, whatever you need of me. And it's been good for Erica and I to return and just experience being a congregant and hugging on folks, which we intend to do at some point months down the road again, and enjoying our beloved Mile High. I physically left Mile High, but I don't think I ever left it. And I haven't left it entirely still. It's alive in me, but I have a different relationship with it. And I still love it as much. And as I look at the path of Mile High, this is such a heart-based congregation, a heart-based community. Oh my God, what we have been through and what we have done. I got a list of a few of those, but I want to defer first to Michelle to pipe in before I share a few of those, time permitting.
Well, I feel the same. Even though I left Mile High, it never left me. I mean, even in those few months when I was laid off and went and did another little job for a little while, I still came to church. I was a member of this church. I still volunteered. I was still part of it all. And then when a position opened up, I came back. And like you said, the heart's call can be excruciating, because when I graduated from the school, Dr. Fred said to me, you know, Mitch, we'd really love to hire you here, but I think you need to go out in the world and be a minister for a bit and come back. And much like you were describing, I made the excruciating decision to leave here, and it made it a little more comforting to know that you and Erica were where I was going, because you were at Huntington Beach. That's where I got to meet this wonderful young man, Reverend Josh. And so I had some wonderful adventures at Huntington Beach, and left Colorado, but I followed my heart. My heart knew that it was right. And very similarly, when you invited me to consider coming back, logically it made absolutely no sense whatsoever. But from that inner guidance place, it made absolute sense. And that inner voice said to me, I think this is your next step in ministry. And I was really shocked by it. But that's the thing, is that when we really listen, like you're talking about, we find our truth. And even though the truth can be excruciating and tough and challenging, and when I came back, it was so wonderful to see that there were still quite a few people I'd known from all those years ago being here, and new people to meet. And there's a spirit about this place. There's people say it all the time, there's nothing like it. We hear from congregants who move away and say, well, I'm happy where I am, but there's nothing like Mile High Church, because it's just such a unique place that we've all contributed to being what it is. I think it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and we're talking ministry, but these are our life lessons we're talking about too.
Absolutely.
It's how to live, and that's been an essential lesson for me in living my life past it. Is sometimes we think we can choose the life that we live, but sometimes it chooses us. And I remember an article several years ago by David Brooks in the New York Times that he says, for some people life is Jack Kerouac's On the Road, and it's all about following your own path and making it your own way. But for other people, it's a wonderful life. The story of George Bailey and all these things happening and his plans going away, but discovering that heart of life. And I found ministries like that, and that was my experience of being called here. I was perfectly happy where I was, but when Roger expressed his vision to me, I kind of paused and went, I'm screwed. Because, not because I didn't have this wonderful place to go to, but see, that's ministry sometimes, is you have to go where you're called. Sometimes you have to open your heart up even more. And I say that jokingly, because the message was, if I would have tried to stay where I was at that point in life, it wouldn't have been the same. It would have deteriorated, and life calls us onward into greater things. And I'm sure, Roger, that's been part of the life of Mile High Church, ever growing, ever reinventing itself. And I'm sure there are a lot of stories to tell about that growth in lifetime.
More than we have time for, but I tell you, the wisdom of what you're saying is that it's very easy to get attached, and we cling with fear, but our intuition, which is grounded in the heart, is the voice of the heart, participates in infinite intelligence. And really the only way we can know what our minds don't know is to listen to our hearts and to let that intuitive guidance show up. But Mile High is a work of heart, just as our bookstore is titled. It's always been that. And I have so many lessons about that. I remember one time, though, when Fred and the church were posturing to get out of the theater. I first started attending when we were meeting in a 500-seat theater on Wadsworth called the Lake Ridge Theater. It's gone now. And Fred would always complain, well, they're going to show movies in our church, so we got to get out of here, And we had, the bookstore was set up on the concession stand and all of that kind of crazy stuff. And they'd have to bring out the pulpit on wheels and the organ on wheels, but we made do. And but Fred said one time, what I want under my Christmas tree is a church. So the board started going off in search of land to find it, and they'd look at this parcel, this parcel, this parcel, this parcel. Finally, one of the board presidents, George Lentz, called up Fred and said, "Fred, tomorrow's Saturday. We're going to go and buy land, you and me, for this church." And by golly, they did. And they looked at a couple places, stumbled over here to Alameda and Garrison and bought the 8 acres that was the initial plot of the land. And I've always just loved that. Sometimes you got to trust your heart and make a decision in life and not second guess it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then a little while later, I came back in 79 after my 3 years in Oregon and was an associate minister with Fred. And it was becoming apparent to Fred and me that we had to build something bigger than the Vote Center because it was stuffed with people, 2 services. People were being turned away. And so Fred said, well, I don't know if we can build something bigger on this land. I said, well, let's get more land here. And at that particular time, there was 2 plots available. And it was 6 acres on our northern park, which is our northern parking lot now. And there was the 2 acres right on the corner on which the Monview Inn, an old restaurant, sat, and a little liquor store next to it. And so we did a fund drive, and we raised part of the money. We took out loans, and we bought those acres because there's nothing we could do if we didn't have more parking space. And I've always loved it, by the way, the church used to own a liquor store. But at any rate, so we started to improve, and it was a big job to improve that acreage, leveling it, putting in the utilities, the curb and gutters, extraordinarily expensive. And then the 80s oil crash in mid-80s occurred. And the bottom went out of our local economy, and the funds stopped flowing in, and it became apparent to us, we had designs for a new sanctuary back then. We weren't going to be able to build it. And so what we did get done was this vast new property with underground utilities and lots of parking, but no building.
Right.
And there was a lot of scuttlebutt. Anytime things don't turn out exactly as planned, there'll be people who chit-chat and naysay. And there are a few folks who say, well, you had us get all this, but we didn't build a building, and you'll probably never build a building again because of that failure. Well, it was just a delay. It wasn't a failure. And so we made do, and we got through that time. And when I came back in 1993 to be senior minister, the church had some financial troubles and some other internal challenges. One minister left, and a bunch of mile highers followed them for a short time. And that's what Erica and I came back to. But you know what? I knew the heart of Mile High, and I knew our principles. And so I just sat down with the board, and I said, all right, we're not going to build anything until we get some things done. And we need to handle our finances. We need to achieve we listed all the goals. And I said, and then after that, we can consider expansion. And at the same time, I said, we're going to take the high road with this upset and these people who left and this minister. And I started meeting with him and let him share his upset and listen to him. And we as a congregation did an adventure in faith that we reprieved here just before I left, called Bridges to Breakthrough. And that was for the congregation to heal and to accept change and to send love to those folks. And a couple of things happened. The finances turned around because we just took a stand and we set goals and we wouldn't overreach. And then people started trickling back.
Having Roger Teel as your senior minister might have helped that a little bit too.
That probably did help.
Wow.
Excellent messages.
And Dr. Marge and Dr. Patty
Yes.
were right by my side. And they started trickling back. And then in 1996, we were in such good shape that we designed the community center, opened it in 1998, and put to rest that whole thing of, well, you'll never build a church now because you failed that one time in that project. And then, of course, 10 years later, we were able to create this and open this.
Right.
So, it's just a matter in our lives of keeping connected with our power zone, our hearts. And if things don't work out as planned, you just keep following that heart, and you keep going. That's why I know Mile High is going to be just fine through this. Because, gang, we are of heart here. And we remind ourselves in our community that we're of heart, that we can get through anything. As long as we stay here and we love one another and we practice what we talk about each and every Sunday, that it is done unto you as you believe. And look beyond circumstances. Don't let circumstances define you. Keep your thinking beyond that. Deal appropriately with what is. Wear the masks. Do the distancing. That's appropriate for what is. But let's be dreaming and let's be open let our hearts speak to each one of us about what opportunities are here for us in these times.
And that's one of the beautiful aspects of, as you called it, the heart of Mile High, is that we all have our own heart. We all have our own individual journeys, but the wonder of the spiritual community is we have a shared heart as well, that we have that ability to not be in this alone. And I have no doubt this is certainly a challenge that we're going through now, but we're passing it with flying colors. We have such a generous congregation, so many wisdom folks, and for me, it was always a role with a church. When I walk into a church, I'd go, show me the past board members, and if they're still there, I knew it was a healthy church. And even today, for example, I know Susan Letourneau was an important part of that community center building, and she's our treasurer now, and helping to lead us, as well as Jim Cornelison and so many great board members, so many great people in this community that even for Michelle and I, you'd say a year into lead minister, it's challenging for us, but we couldn't be more supportive. We've got the best toolbox in the world, best minister we know, and to be able to utilize your assistance has been so great as well. Mile High is very blessed, and I know since we have a shared heart that you're blessed as well, that we're all blessed. And Michelle, do you have anything else to say just about us as Mile High Church and overcoming what's present for us now?
I think that it's just been so wonderful to watch as we've all created outside of the box ways to feel that connection, to feel each other's presence through these online services, through classes, through groups that have been meeting online, through all the ways that people are connecting. I think we're standing with each other, and we're standing together at a time when we could be tempted to stand away from each other or feel disconnected from each other. And I know that sometimes people feel lonely or disconnected, but it's just been so wonderfully heartening to just feel how connected we really are. And we're standing together, and we're standing with everybody, and there is great heart here, for sure.
At times like this, you find out what you really believe.
Exactly.
And what I know about Mile High congregation is, and I know some are new and are just getting involved in this incredible transformational path. But Mile Highers know what works. They know principle. They know the spiritual laws, and they have heart. Now you combine a knowledge and a willingness to practice spiritual law with heart energy. Unbeatable.
Love and law.
Absolutely unbeatable. Can I tell one concluding story?
Yes.
Do we have time?
Of course.
We do. Well, we want you to know, too, we're not done with you. And so we hope to continue these conversations as well. But we'd love to have one more for tonight.
Oh, good. Well, this some things that have happened on this path have been just so outrageously funny. Like the first funeral I did, and it was such a blizzard, and we had to drive to Longmont, and we couldn't find the grave in the cemetery. Things like that. Calling a groom by the wrong first name, and it ended up being the first name of the bride's ex. Life is full of these things, exactly. But one was when I'd come back in 93 and we were shoring up the church to be senior minister, shoring up the church. And one thing that we hadn't finished earlier on was we hadn't renovated the Vote Center sanctuary. We'd renovated everything around it, new classrooms and everything, but we stopped short of the sanctuary itself. And so I was teaching a Beyond Limits, a basic Science Mind 1 class, and it was near the end of the class, and the students all did projects, and we gave them a piece of poster board, and they would do some sort of project on it that signified their growth or their vision. And so on break, as these projects were all lined up out in the lobby, I saw one poster board, and it showed the Vote Center. It was an artistic rendition of what would be possible with a light wall, new entrances, clouds, and everything. And I thought, who did that? And one of the practitioner assistants said, well, we've got an architect in the class named Bob Engelke, and he did that. I said, bring him to me. And so they brought Bob to me, and I said, Bob, this is what we want to do. Can you help us do this? He said, sure, I'd love to. I'll work up drawings, and you can show the board. And we did, and it wasn't the most enormous project, maybe 150,000 or so, but where we were in our progress, it was important to do that. And we did it, and what you see over there now is by and large what Bob had envisioned, and it had been much different earlier on. And anyway, Bob then served a term on the board. He was a wonderful guy, a funny guy. And one time I told this joke about a pig. And Bob loved that joke. And almost every time I'd see him after he was done with his board stand, he'd say, "Tell me the pig joke again." So I'd tell it to him, and he'd laugh like he had just heard the darn thing. Well, sadly enough, Bob developed lymphoma, and after a while, he did make that transition into the greater life. And so they asked me to do the memorial, and I met with the family, and we were designing it. And the family said, well, he did leave some instructions. He liked this kind of music. And he then said he wanted me to tell the pig joke at his memorial.
Oh, no.
I said, he wants what? That's what he has right here. You're to tell the pig joke at his memorial.
Oh, my gosh. I remember the pig joke.
So I did. Shall I tell it or?
Oh, yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
We
yeah.
might save it for the offering, but I think it's suitable now.
Maybe we better get the money first. What do you think? So it's about this farmer and his wife who bought a female pig, and they're thinking of going into that part of their farming, raising pigs, but they didn't know a lot of the basics about it, and so they called another family up, and they happened the farm nearby had a male pig, and they had been raising pigs. And they asked if they could bring the female pig over to be with the male, and the other family said, sure, we'd be glad to do that. So they put the female pig in their truck and drove over to the next farm, and they put the two pigs together, and then the two farming couples had some lemonade out on the porch. And during their little get-to-know-you conversation, the novice farmer said to the experienced one, now how do we know if this has taken? Having our pigs together. And the experienced farmer said, well, here's what you do. At the first light of day, get up and look out at the pen that you've got your pig in. And if she's laying down, it took. But if she's walking around, it didn't take. And so the next morning, the farmer elbowed his wife, says, Ma, get up and look out there and tell me what that pig's doing. And she looked out the window and said, Pa, she's up walking around. So they loaded the pig back up in the pickup and took it over to the farm and put the two pigs back together again and had more lemonade. Then they brought him home. The next morning, the farmer elbowed his wife and said, Ma, tell me about the pig. And she looked at it and said, Pa, she's up walking around again. So they loaded the pig up again and they took it over to the next farm and put the pigs together. And then third day, he elbowed his wife and said, Ma, tell me about the pig. And she stared out the window for the longest time. He said, well, Ma, what in tarnation is that pig doing? And she said, well, Pa, she's sitting in the truck honking the horn. Now, I think that's a highly spiritual message about enthusiasm.
And that's the heart of Mile High.
That's the heart of Mile High right there. Bob loved that story.
Oh, my gosh.
I was a little embarrassed to tell it, but people loved it at the memorial.
Well, I do think that's the heart of Mile High. It's the depth of consciousness and the down-to-earth humor put together for living our everyday lives.
And some of it's very poor humor.
It works.
The compassion of the congregation lets us get away with it.
Yeah, for sure.
We are loved. And thank you again so much for doing
Yes,
this
thank
with
you,
us tonight, Roger. And
My pleasure.
thank you, Michelle. And we're going to hear again from the wonderful Karen Drucker, who shared another video for us to experience tonight.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Can you sing that with me? You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. Sing that again. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. And if you don't know the sign language, it goes like this. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Now think of someone you love and say, you are the face of God. Now think of someone you have a little issue with. You are the face of God. Now think about yourself looking in the mirror. You are the face of God. Just breathe that in. You are the face of God. Last time. You are the face of God.
That song always makes me think of the children here at Mile High Church because they sing that song to us so frequently. So I love that we had some images of the kids during the song, and I really miss our sweet little kids. And so, kids, if you're watching, we send our love to you, and we know you are the face of God, and we hold you in our hearts. And before we continue with our service, I just wanted to ask you, Reverend Josh, a little bit about your thoughts about what are you loving most about Mile High Church and who we're being and what we're doing right now during this challenging time we're faced with.
Well, for me, the most challenging thing is not having our kids here right now. Mm-hmm. And, just hearing that song reminds me of that. And, if I had a core vision for Mile High Church and what we do, it would be to, change the lives of 1 million children, to take this philosophy. And that's something we have in common. We all came into this as teenagers. Yep. And teach them about their wholeness, teach them to be aware of how they feel, teach them how to follow their heart. And, we are faced with a challenge right now because we have all these camps, all these things we want to do with them this summer, and we're challenged on if we can do them or not. So join me in that prayerfulness of knowing that we get through this enough so that we can continue to create environments. We're doing a great job of creating online environments for them right now, but I'm so grateful to Stacy Butters and Barry Ebert and the whole Salwa Falwell, the whole team. We're so grateful for all of them, but we want to get them back here and growing, and maybe even missing them a little bit as a reminder of how much we want to continue to focus on that in the future. But not only do people's generous donations go to support our services and our staff, but it goes to feed that vision of helping families and inspiring children and teenagers, just like the three of us got inspired as well.
Thank you. And I've heard so many people, we were fortunate to find this teaching when we were younger, all three of us. And how many of us have said throughout our lives, boy, I wish I would have found a place like Mile High when I was younger. And it's because of you that we're here and that we can be of service to our kids and our teens and our tweens, even during a time such as this. And so we thank you for your ongoing generous support of our wonderful Mile High family. And if you would like to continue to support us financially, we certainly invite and welcome your contributions. I just came from reading all sorts of thank you notes from people who've been sending in checks and sending in their thank yous, and we so appreciate it. It's very uplifting. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all that you give. Thank you for the way that you're contributing, even in this time, to our wonderful community. You can contribute financially today if you'd like by texting to us. You can dial 45888, put in Mile High, and then put the amount that you'd like to give. You can go to our website at milehighchurch.org, and at the top of the website you'll see Give, and you can click on that and make a contribution, or you can simply send in a check. We welcome that, and we thank you for that, and we know that you're out there, and we so appreciate it. We're going to listen to a song now, speaking of kids, that is another Jamie Lula song. It's special to me for a number of reasons, because it's a really awesome song, but my little boy, who's now 21 years old, it's the first New Thoughts song that he would sing in the car, and I will never forget the voice of my son singing, "Something's calling me a little bit deeper." So please enjoy another song with Jamie Lula.
Here's another thing that's probably calling to all of us right now. Something's calling me. Something's calling me. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Feels like I'm walking on marbles. Can't still the earth beneath my feet. Is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling? I can feel my heart begin to pound. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. A long dark night, my soul it wanders. Can't see the light that moves me. If God is everything and everywhere that I belong, Spirit gently wakes me from my sleep. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, oh Lord, take me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, oh Lord, pull me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, I know I'm not the only one to live inside these blues. Oh Lord, I give my life, I give my love to you. Oh Lord, I surrender my life to you. Oh Lord, is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Faith is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Compassion's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Spirit's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. 'Cause God is calling me, and I'm grateful like I've never been
Oh, what a gift he is. So grateful. On this beautiful Earth Day, I invite you to join us for some prayer time, and we will include a special prayer and blessings for our Earth. And so let's go within. Please join me as we take a deep breath together and give thanks for the opportunity that we have to breathe in and breathe out, recognizing that that beautiful relationship that exists between us and our Earth is witnessed and expressed every time we breathe. For we take in the oxygen that is generated from the beautiful life of planet Earth, and we give back chemistry out into the air that is utilized and continuing to experience a thriving Earth. And so we celebrate and acknowledge that our place here upon this beautiful blue planet is a synchronistic, interdependent, joyful relationship. And we know that this powerful presence as we center ourselves in the breath is the divine life shining brightly through us, in us, and as us. For it is everywhere present. God, life, source is all that there is. That includes each one of us, and it includes our planet. And so today, on Earth Day, we give thanks. We give thanks for the clear sky. We give thanks for the weather patterns. We give thanks for the oceans. We give thanks for the plant life and the animal life, for all of the ways that our beautiful planet sustains us, for the ecology of our planet. And we recognize and see that during this time of quarantine, with so many of us staying home, our planet is thriving in unique and powerful ways. And we can see this and we hear reports of this. We can see it in the skies, and we give thanks. We give joyous thanks, for we know that our Earth is an expression of the divine life that God is, that our Earth is alive, and it supports and sustains us in powerful, profound ways. And so we allow ourselves to give grateful thanks this day and to feel that gratitude for our life on planet Earth and how well we are supported and sustained. And we give back this evening in this prayer. We give back by praying for the continued thriving health and well-being of Mother Earth, and celebrate and honor with great gratitude this beautiful, beautiful place we live. We are blessed. Thank you, Earth. And as we stand together on this earth, we recognize that the earth is available for all beings everywhere, that the earth's gifts are equally available to everyone, that the sun shines equally upon our planet for everyone, that the air is for everyone, that life, God's source, is for everyone. And therefore we can be assured that right here, right now, the resources of the universe are here for everyone, including us, including the people that we care about, including every being on this planet. And so we take our place gladly in the receivership of this great good that is meant for all beings. And we conclude our prayer time by affirming health and well-being for ourselves and those in our life that we choose to extend that affirmation of health to. So think of those beings, say their name out loud where you are, say your own name out loud, but we are blessed with health and well-being. We breathe it in. We recognize that the blessings of abundance and great good and flowing resources are available to all. And so we speak our name or the names of any loved ones that we feel concerned about around abundance and affirm great abundance and supply. We feel connection and support and feel that guidance of depth within us and for every being right here and right now. And with great gratitude, we feel the manifestation of this prayer already beginning and blossoming in our lives, coming to fruition. And so we give thanks in advance for this great good that is ours now. I'm so grateful. And I release this prayer now into the action of that law that makes it so. I simply let it be. In faith and trust, I let go. It is done. And together, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. And so as we conclude our service today, I was reading recently that our brain doesn't know the difference between whether we're being hugged personally or whether we're just imagining it. So right now, as we conclude this service, I invite you to do one more thing, and that's to just close your eyes and imagine being hugged with great joy by us, by your friends at Mile High Church, by the people you come in contact with. And every time we imagine ourselves being hugged, the chemistry of that launches itself into our body, and we can feel that deep connection. So please feel how we are hugging you, loving you, so grateful for you today. Thank you for being with us. And we encourage you to join us in ways that are meaningful for you. So if you would like to receive some prayer today, you can go to our website once again at milehighchurch.org/prayer. You can submit a written prayer request, or you can submit a request for a practitioner to pray for you or call you or support you. We'd be happy to do that. We hope you'll be with us this Sunday for our 10 a.m. live stream of our service, where Reverend Josh is going to be speaking. We're looking forward to that. And then we'll be back here again next Wednesday. We're so blessed by your presence, and we're so grateful for Karen Drucker, for Jamie Lula, for all of their contributions to our service, for Dr. Kent, for our whole production team who's been here. We are so blessed, and thank you so much. And we invite you now, you'll hear Karen Drucker sing our closing song, and she's going to invite you to sing along, because there is only love. Let's listen to Karen Drucker.
So if there's anything that I want you to have in your heart right now, as we go through all this, what we're all going through, it's this message right here. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry just fall away from me. I open my heart and I can see there is only love. There is only love, sweet love. It's a love that can heal. Love will set us free. There is only love. And when I lose myself in those times when it seems like I have lost my way, I go inside and I quiet this chattering mind. I can hear spirits say, sing with me now, there is only love. There There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. Just love. Right now, that's what we gotta do. Just love. Love yourself. Love your family. Love. 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 Let's just keep loving each other. Thanks for listening.